There's over $1 trillion in Roth IRAs. At some point, somebody's going to be inheriting a whole lot of money. Hi, this is financial planner Sean Mullaney. Let's discuss. The Roth IRA, this is 2023, so the Roth IRA is turning 25 this year. It's the silver anniversary, if I got that right, of the Roth IRA. And look, folks have inherited Roth IRAs in the past. But now this is really starting to come into focus. I think this is a big issue in the personal finance space is like, what do you do when you inherit a Roth IRA? And what the heck does that even mean? What I did recently is a very extensive blog post on, I think it's 7 different types of beneficiaries and how they inherit Roth IRAs. I'm going to link to that on my blog in the description below. But for this video, let's just think about 3 types of beneficiaries because this is going to cover more than I think the majority of beneficiaries. And the first beneficiary, let's think about, is a spousal beneficiary. The tax code generally wants to favor spousal beneficiaries for all retirement accounts, including Roth IRAs. And I think most spouses, look, you got to do your own analysis, but I think most spouses, when they inherit a deceased spouse's Roth IRA, they're just going to want to make it their own Roth IRA. You probably remember that Roth IRAs have no required minimum distributions. So it's a really cool thing to get this tax-free account and then make it your own. And so now you can just take it out on your own schedule, on your own time. You don't have to worry about IRS tables and required minimum distributions and all that jazz, right? So you take it out on your own time, your own schedule. Great. Now, there are going to be some spousal beneficiaries, maybe under age 59 and a half, who might want to treat that thing as a so-called inherited Roth IRA instead of as a spousal Roth IRA. That's not always going to be the right answer. In fact, I suspect in many cases it won't be. But sometimes to be able to get that money before age 59 and a half, penalty-free, that might be the right answer in some cases. Now, I will say there's also a creditor protection drawback from that. In many states and from bankruptcy perspective, a Roth IRA in one's own name enjoys strong creditor protection. Look up your own state and your own situation, but creditor protection is great when we have Roth IRAs in our own name. If we have that as an inherited Roth IRA, we may not have as much creditor protection. So I think in many cases, the spouse is going to want to make that Roth IRA their own, no RMDs, but there can be planning situations under age 59 and a half where treating it as a inherited Roth IRA may make sense in certain situations. Okay, well, that's spousal beneficiaries. Now let's think about another common beneficiary type, and this is the adult child of a decedent, right? So this is when your mom or dad's in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they pass away, they're elderly, they leave you, their adult child, a Roth IRA as an inherited IRA. What do you do then? Well, the new tax rules as of the end of 2019, this made it the rule in 2020, says, okay, you have a 10-year rule. And what that's saying is that inherited Roth IRA adult child needs to be emptied by the end of the 10th full year following the death of, in this case, your parent. And here's the cool thing, though. Yeah, you got 10 years, no RMDs, right? So you have a 10-year window. By the end of that 10th year, got to fully empty it. Now, emptying it is just, you take the distribution, and because it's from a Roth, it's tax and penalty free. We love that, right? So it's a 10-year window of tax-free growth. If you can afford, it's really cool usually just to leave that money in the inherited Roth IRA for the 10 years, let it grow tax and penalty free, and then take it out fully tax free towards the end of that 10th year. Now that said, look, maybe in year 2, year 3, year 4, you're replacing the roof. Some unexpected expense comes up, or just living, you have expenses. You got to take that money from the Roth IRA. Okay, no problem. Tax and penalty free. Leave as much in there to keep getting that tax-free growth through the end of that 10th year. All right, so that's the second type of beneficiary, the adult child of an elderly decedent who gets a Roth IRA from them. And then there's a third type that I think about, which is siblings and sometimes, sadly, parents of adults who leave a Roth IRA. So maybe your adult sibling is in their 60s or early 70s. They're not married. They die. they leave their sibling or maybe even their parent, if they're maybe in their 40s or 50s, they're still, the parent is elderly, but they're still alive. What result then? Well, the adult sibling or maybe the parent has to, now they're out of the 10-year rule, which is good news, but they are subject to RMDs. Now, the cool thing about it is it's RMDs based on the recipient's life expectancy. And if the recipient is in their 40s or 50s themselves, as long as they're not 10 years younger than the decedent, right? So adult siblings, there's this 10-year rule, can't be more than 10 years younger. But as long as that's the case, okay, you do have an RMD from that Roth IRA every year, but that's it. And it may be a very small RMD, and it's tax-free anyway. So maybe we could still get 20 more years of growth, 30 more years of growth on a declining amount, but okay, fine. And like I said, generally speaking, tax and penalty-free. So that's a pretty good outcome. Well, how the heck do you determine this RMD? I don't know. Well, in the year after death, you go to what the IRS refers to as the single life table. You take a look at your age that year, and it'll give you a factor. It'll say, oh, you turned 47 this year. Well, here's your factor. And you just take the prior year-end balance, divide it by that factor, and that's your RMD from the inherited Roth IRA. And then you just keep going every year, and you just take that factor from the first year and subtract 1 every year. So the factor is going to get smaller and smaller. You're dividing, so the whatever that is, the quotient, I believe, is going to get larger and larger because you're doing a fraction. So you get more and more RMD every year in many cases, but it's fully tax-free. So that's pretty cool. So, those are the three main categories of beneficiaries. There are other categories, minor children of the decedent, trusts, estates, charities. I talk about it all in my blog post, which I'll link to below. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please mash that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.